We will take questions for the city, the Rays, Hines, and the county. If you could please announce your name and your affiliation, and you can have one follow-up. Other than that, please pass the mic back. Thank you very much.
Mark Topkin, Tampa Bay Times. Mayor, what does this mean to the city to get this done after the 16 years of efforts?
So we have like 30 minutes. I could take the whole 30 minutes with that. It means that we've shown the power of partnership and that we're honoring promises that were made some 40 years ago. And through the shared priorities that we have, the city, the county, Hines, Rays, we are setting the path for progress for our city for decades to come. And so it's important from an economic standpoint, it's important from an opportunity standpoint, and I couldn't be more excited about the path forward for us.
And then just as a follow-up to you and also to Barry Burton, what roadblocks could happen and how confident are you that this will get to the finish line?
I don't believe in roadblocks. I believe that we saw an opportunity and we set out priorities, and we pulled in our partners from day one, Barry and the county commission and the Rays, and mapped out our priorities, and the plan we have meets that. So the next steps include locking down the term sheet and getting agreements ultimately to the county commission and to the city council to get those finally approved. But I'm very optimistic about us moving forward quickly.
Follow up on that. So obviously there's agreements that need to come before both the city council and the county commission. We've been in communication throughout, so there shouldn't be surprises. This has been a true partnership, and we're happy that we were able to bring all those pieces together to present what we have here today.
And if I could, Mayor, I just wanted to add on to the first part of the question. You know, this is a great day for St. Petersburg, and I want to thank Mayor Welch for his leadership, and the Rays and Hines and Pinellas County, all our partners. But, you know, this is a significant investment for the city of St. Petersburg, and we do expect a return on that investment. And that return on investment is going to come in the form of good paying jobs, affordable and workforce housing, new revenues to the city of St. Petersburg, and $50 million in community benefits that were talked about. And, you know, I'd love to hear from Michael Harrison about the benefits of this mixed-use development in St. Petersburg.
Thanks for that setup, Rob. Now, on behalf of Hines, as Jeff noted in his comments out on the field, it's really a privilege for us to be here. As he noted, Matt and I were comparing notes. We had dinner for the first time 15 and a half years ago to talk about coming down here and looking at this opportunity. So to say this has been a labor of love for everybody at the table is an understatement. So we consider it a privilege to be here. We consider it to be a great, you know, we have the good fortune of having a great partner in the Rays. And from the perspective of what we will accomplish here is that, you know, we've been given a blank canvas. This site, we've heard about the promises that were made, and we have the opportunity to deliver on those promises and really leverage what's happened in the city of St. Petersburg over the last 15 years, which has been incredible growth. Not just the tourism. I mean, people are moving to St. Pete. They want to live here. They want to work here. And we really do see this as a great opportunity. You know, as noted, you know, this project from an investment perspective will be $6 billion or $6.5 billion total over a 20-year project, creating over 30,000 construction jobs, not to mention, many thousand permanent jobs. So we're excited to be part of that, and we're excited to really leverage the experience that we've had, not just here in the U.S., but across the globe at creating city-defining projects. And City of St. Petersburg has, as I said, shown tremendous growth, and we really just look to continue that in a meaningful way. And there's no better way to do this kind of a mixed-use placemaking village than to have an incredible anchor. And the anchor here is the Rays and the ballpark and the ability to activate this part of the city. It's not just going to be driving into a parking lot, watching a game, and then going back to your car and driving home. We're really about creating a place that people want to linger and mingle and stay before and after a ball game. And then really it's our job as partners to activate this space 365 days a year. It's not just going to be about the buildings that are going to be developed. It's really about the space between the buildings and how we program that and activate it so that there's something going on here every day of the year.
Mayor, Evan from Fox 13. I just wanted to ask, from the city's perspective here, what is the funding from the city going to look like?
So the funding's important, I think. Thank you for your assist on that. Funding is very important, and again, this would not happen without a partnership between the city and the county and Heinz Rays. So approximate numbers, about $600 million is the local portion. Out of that, about half, $300 million, we're asking the county commission to fund through the bed tax. That leaves about $300 million for the city of St. Pete. We are funding that through bonding of a number of revenue streams, none of which are property taxes, and we're doing it without any new taxes or any increase in current taxes. For that $300 million investment, we will get back, as we've said, more than $6 billion of investment, 30,000 construction jobs, 7,000 permanent jobs after that, 1,200 units of affordable and workforce housing, $50 million of community benefits. We look at that $300 million as an investment that will pay dividends to the city of St. Pete.
There are obviously a number of members of both the city council and county commission here. Several of them spoke during the presentation downstairs. Is the message you're trying to send, the political message you're trying to send, that city council and county commission are both already on board with this project?
No, the message I'm trying to send is that we need partnership, and we've been intentionally inclusive of county commission. I met with every county commissioner months ago and our city council to inform them about our path forward and to ask for their partnership. Having served on the county commission for 20 years, I know that the county commission supports a number of projects around the county, that it has to be balanced. I understand that. But we're still asking for them to support that, and we think we've got a very good business plan for them to consider.
For Matt, Adam Barry, MLB.com. Matt, just given the history searching for a ballpark the last 16 years, can you explain the organization's confidence in getting this done and what this day would mean to the organization as well?
Yeah, this is a great day. It's a day of celebration for the Rays, and we've been working at this for almost 2 decades at this point. It's interesting that it's coming full circle. We were talking about a ballpark in St. Petersburg 15 years ago, and we wanted to have that ballpark and the development here at the Trop be something that jumpstarts the redevelopment of downtown St. Pete. And in those 15 years, St. Pete has continued to develop. It has grown into an even greater place for Major League Baseball, and so now we get the benefit of being a part of the next 30 years of St. Petersburg's growth and playing a big role in that. This is something that's a dream come true for us, to be able to build a first-class facility, a jewel for Tampa Bay, and something that's going to be a magnet and a destination, not just for people in St. Pete and Tampa Bay, but from across the country. Our goal is to build the best ballpark in America. We think it's going to be the most intimate ballpark, the most comfortable ballpark, and it's going to be unique because it has a roof. And that roof is an advantage to us. So we're going to have operable walls, we're going to have operable windows, so on nice nights and nice days, we can open up the ballpark and you'll feel the breeze and you'll have a sense of place, and you can look out through the windows and know where you are. But then when it's hot and when it's rainy and when it's humid, you're going to have the weather certainty, and we close it up and it's air conditioned and comfortable. And that's one of the things we heard from our fans. Comfort comes first. They love coming into Tropicana Field knowing the game is going to be played at 72 degrees and it's comfortable, and that's going to be the same in this next ballpark.
Hi, Louis Slovia with the Business Observer. Kind of tagging on what he just asked, we've been down this road before. Fundamentally, what is different about this deal compared to the others?
Well, this is a very different time for the Rays and for St. Petersburg and Pinellas County. We're a much more mature market and a much more mature region, a much more mature city, that when you look ahead and you think about the next several decades, this is a great place for Major League Baseball. The trajectory of this community is so much greater than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and all the different arrows are pointing in the right direction for the city, the county, and for Tampa Bay. It is a major commitment for our organization to fund $700 million or more into this ballpark, and that shows the confidence that we have in being here and being a part of the growth and the continued renaissance of this area. And what we saw with Pinellas County and with the city of St. Petersburg and Mayor Welch was a commitment to making this a reality. We're all in this together. We're not making a bet. We're making an investment in the future of this city and of this franchise. And we see really, really great years ahead for us. It's almost a gathering storm. We feel that momentum. We see it this year. We're up 25% in attendance, 30% in attendance, and we see that momentum. And now our whole community, Rays fans and the entire community, can breathe a sigh of relief and know that this team is going to be here. And all that bottled up enthusiasm that people were sort of holding back can now come out. We can celebrate, and we can see just the growth and the potential of this franchise as we reach for the next several decades.
If I could just add to that from the perspective of a longtime city employee, I mean, I think what we'd been waiting for is the neighborhood kid to show up, Mayor Welch. You know, that's what we needed, and it's really been his leadership. I mean, he pulled me aside and he said, "Rob," he said, "look at this sea of asphalt out here." He said, "This is fallow, unproductive ground. Let's make this ground bear fruit for all of Pinellas County." And that's how he set the tone, and that's the leadership that we needed.
So I have to jump in after that. That's going to stick, neighborhood kid. But I also think the spirit of partnership made a big difference. Rob led our team, and the negotiations were complex. Sometimes they were tough, but we sat at the beginning in this space and talked about priorities, and we clearly understood the priorities of each group and where they converged, and that's what we focused on. And trust is a big part of it. It's not just partnerships, but partnerships are stronger if you have a relationship, and that's what we worked on building. There were no bad guys in the room. We weren't going to go to the county at the last minute and ask for $300 million. They were part from the start. So council, the same way, council has to approve these agreements. So we tried to keep council apprised of what we were doing. So I think that partnership approach was a big difference as well. And as was said, St. Pete's changed a lot over the last decade, and I think it's a lot more viable now.
Steve Carney from stp9.com. For Mayor Welch and Chairperson Long, I know that, you know, with everything being here in St. Petersburg and the new ballpark being here, but the population center is still over in Hillsborough County. I'm curious what your thoughts and what processes might there be in coming in place to try and allow more of the population center to get over to the ballpark, because if you talk to a lot of the people, a lot of the fans over in Hillsborough County, they still complain about the drive over and trying to get to the ballpark. How are things going to be improved in that facet, and how much does the state take a stake in being able to help with that?
So I'll jump on first. I want to thank Mayor Jane Castor, who made a comment on this, that the primary focus is keeping the Rays in the Tampa Bay area, and we've done that. I've been to several playoff games, World Series. There's no problem folks getting here for that. If you talk about a 30, 40-minute drive to get here in many other markets, that's normal business. That's a good day. We are making improvements in terms of transportation as well. We have the first bus at Rapid Transit in the Tampa Bay area, just went over 1 million rides on Sunrunner. The new Howard Franklin is under construction. So our transportation connectivity is improving. And as you can see, there's a lot of new construction and new folks coming to St. Pete. We broke $1 billion in permitting the last 2 years in a row for the first time, and it's increased. So I think all those things are working towards addressing that issue.
Well, you know that since I've been on the county commission, a big focus of mine has been improving our public transportation opportunities, and it goes without saying that I think we have made progress in that area, and for the first time ever, we were able to secure federal money to help us with the Sunrunner line. And there are big plans to try and expand the Sunrunner. So that's number one. And number two, you know that we now have the Cross Bay Ferry, which has been very popular and which has been used to transport citizens back and forth. And as Mayor Welch said, we've got the Howard Franklin under construction. So I can't speak for the state and how they could or might weigh in, but I know that between our county and the feds, we have a very good, robust relationship, and I hope to help make that continue for another few months or a year. So, thank you.
Hi, Josh Rojas with Spectrum Bay News 9. My question is for Commissioner Long and County Administrator Burton. The Tourist Development Council members, some of them seem a little nervous about spending $300 million on the ballpark when you have to do beach renourishment now and spend a lot more money there. How can you assure them that there is enough money to do both?
Well, as chair of the Tourist Development Council, I've been very forthright and explaining to them that we do have the money to do both. Our bed taxes are higher than they have ever been, and God willing, they will continue to rise. And so I know that if you're spending a lot of money to come here and bring your family, you don't want to spend your time in gridlock. So again, improving our transportation, our public transportation options is really critical. And I think as we move forward, we will have no choice but to do just that. So I think they are comfortable. They know that just this week we are starting to put sand dunes out on the beaches, right, Barry? And we're going to move forward with or without the Army Corps. And I'm hopeful that with continuing to keep an open dialogue, we may be able to move the Army Corps off the dime. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as the Tourist Development Council Board, I think they're all very supportive of knowing that we have the money and that we will do what we say. So thank you.
So today with this announcement, we also sent a letter to all the beach mayors. And what we reaffirmed is our commitment to do both. You know, we had a meeting, a joint commission between the Board of County Commissioners and the TDC last Thursday. And one of the discussions was modeling out what the future is to renourish our beaches. And we used a worst case scenario that we can't resolve the issues with the Corps. And guess what? We can do both. The good part is tourism is strong, it continues to be strong, and we know that baseball is important, but so our lifeblood is our beaches, and we're going to make sure that we can do both.
Rebecca Leibson with the Tampa Bay Times. My question's for Mr. Harrison. The original proposal from Hines included around 800 affordable units, and at the time you guys said that that reflected the economic realities of building affordable. What has changed to allow you to account for almost 1,200 units now, and how will you pay for that?
It's actually a great question, and it gives an opportunity to talk about the process. And the RFP process that the city ran was a highly efficient process, but one of the shortcomings when you run a public RFP process is we didn't really have a chance to sit down with the city, with the mayor, with Rob and his team and say, help us understand your priorities. We had the RFP, we had the 23 guiding points in there, but as a respondent, it's hard to know what are the most important things. And so upon the award and our first meeting with the mayor and Rob and James and Tom, we sat down and said, help us prioritize, amongst those 23 items, what would you really like to see happen here? And it was clear from Mayor Welch that affordable housing, if it wasn't the top priority, it was really up there in the top two. And so we sat down with him and the team, and we talked about what can we do here. And what has changed, and to your point, our affordable housing commitment has gone up 40%. Part of that is discussion, part of that was negotiation, but it also gave us an opportunity to say, hey, look, maybe we can identify additional affordable housing opportunities that we didn't consider including, and really what we hope to be the first component of affordable housing, will be a senior affordable housing component. Again, going back to the promises made and following through on them, here's a great opportunity to do an affordable housing project that, when it's complete, can actually offer opportunities for some of the gas plant residents that once lived there to come back if they so choose. The other thing we talked about with the city is that there is a higher priority for off-site affordable housing commitments too. And so we've increased the number of off-site affordable housing units in an effort really to help the city execute on that. And then on top of that, we, as part of our intentional equity commitments, and I'd love for Andrick to comment on top of this, we're providing $15 million of the $50 million of intentional equity is really committed to additional affordable housing opportunities within the city. And really that's both rental and as well as home ownership.
Thank you, Michael. As he mentioned, one of the things we wanted to make sure that we were able to do as it related to affordable housing was we didn't want to be affordable housing developers off-site. We wanted to make sure that we were investing in infrastructure that was currently there. The City of St. Pete has done a phenomenal job since Mayor Welch has come on board with really paying a heavy focal point on affordable housing, especially the home ownership model. So the $15 million that Michael alluded to is going directly to the city to help with those programs.
Jim Stinson, Business Observer, Tampa Bay editor. I'm not clear on the demolition of, my question is for anyone, the demolition of Tropicana Field and how that's going to go about when that starts and what will be made use of the property.
Yeah, I'll take it from a kind of a development logistics perspective. Obviously, you can't take down Tropicana Field until the new ballpark is completed. And so we've been working closely with the Rays, with the city, as well as all of our consultants, the architects, civil engineers, and we've really mapped out a sequence of events where we're going to have to construct early on in the process some dedicated parking facilities, because in order to break ground on the new ballpark, we're going to have to take some of the existing parking out of play. And so it's really like a giant jigsaw puzzle. We're building new parking facilities that will be dedicated to the ballpark and available for public use, when it's not in play for baseball, and that'll free up the area that we need to begin construction on the ballpark, as well as really phase one of the development, which will be surrounding and adjacent to the ballpark.
Okay, and a follow-up. New York City is a 5-county area with 2 baseball teams. Tampa Bay is the 2-county at least area. My question may be to the councilwoman and to the mayor: how do you aggressively market to get those people from Pasco and Tampa into, what kind of marketing plans do you have to get them into the seats here? Or the business side of it?
I think that's our job at the Rays, but we'll certainly take all the support we can get from the county and the city. We try to do 3 things at the Tampa Bay Rays: win baseball games, provide a world-class fan experience, and be a good corporate partner. And while we don't pretend that we're perfect at any one of those, we're pretty darn good. 5th postseason in a row was noted a couple times, and I'm happy to say it again right here. And with that comes aggressive marketing. Affordability will continue to be a key component of our marketing strategy. We know that our game has to appeal to families, and we've got to continue to build on that generational fan base. And then again, Matt mentioned we're up 25% this year. We are seeing children born to people who grew up as Rays fans for the very first time right now. And one of the reasons we need to get this shovel in the ground and move this forward is to allow that generational fan base to really take root. We're setting the tone for that right here today. And we truly believe that over the next 30 years, we're going to see those numbers really tick up. I'll also note that with this development and this new destination, this new ballpark, we have a one-time opportunity to get a lot of businesses and potential season ticket holders in the door, and our organization has never been more prepared to make sure that we keep those fans coming back year after year after year. If we can build our season ticket base by several thousand over 81 games, that adds up to a whole lot of people, and we absolutely believe that can and will be done right here.
Mark Parker, St. Pete Catalyst, sorry about that. My first question, if I can ask two somewhat related questions, is for Commissioner Long. I heard several people credit you for helping to see this over the finish line. Could you just explain a little bit why this was, so important to you to keep the Rays in Pinellas County and St. Petersburg?
Well, I have 5 grandchildren and 1 great-grandson, and they are coming to the ball games, and they love it. And it hasn't been mentioned about Manatee County, but my oldest son lives in Manatee County, and he comes up quite often with his kids, and they love the Rays. And I hope to be able to support the Rays for a long time to come, God willing, and I know that I've been a fan ever since they first came here. And we have a hidden gem at the Rays, which doesn't often get highlighted very much, but Brian Auld is the best spokesperson for the Rays that there could ever possibly be. Where is he? Oh, there he is.
I taught him everything he knows.
I know you did.
I'm over here hiding.
Well, it's the truth. So I told Mr. Sternberg that as long as we have him and Matt, we'll be very successful, and of that I have no doubt.
And then a quick follow-up, if I can. I was going to ask Mayor Welch if you thought your extensive experience on the commission helped in these negotiations.
Yeah, I just do what Janet tells me, and usually that, if you work with, no. Of course it helped, because I knew that we have committed public servants on the county commission who look at countywide impacts from their investment. And I knew if we approached it from a partnership and relationship aspect from the start, it'd be a much higher probability of the county supporting this. And so met with Commissioner Justice when he was chair last year, and certainly my friend Commissioner Long as well this year. And again, I don't know, shouldn't do a football analogy, but if I'm the GM, Rob's my head coach. And same thing on the other side, Barry Burton and his team. Our respective administrations work very well together to work through these negotiations. So I was confident, and again, a medium-sized city like St. Pete cannot do this alone. But a metro like Pinellas of 1 million people with the financial resources we have through the bed tax and through other resources, we certainly can do it, and that was our approach going in.
Kevin O'Donnell, Fox 13. This is either for Matt or Brian. $600 million, $700 million that you guys have committed to this project is much more than has been discussed in previous years, up from maybe 150, I think the initial number was. How do you plan on funding that? And as part of the redevelopment of this property included the money that you'll get back from that?
The number that we have we expect is 700 million or more, and we are responsible for any cost overruns or cost additions. It is more than we would have expected, than we would have expected to be able to put in. But that shows our confidence in being able to create that destination, and having the development associated with it allows us to create the type of place that we need to draw the fans in and year out over the next 30 years. So that's the importance of the development to us, is to make sure that it works with the ballpark, that it feeds into the ballpark, that we have restaurants and we have shops and we have people working here, living here on site, and feeding into the excitement and the energy of the ballpark. Specifically with the $700 million, it's going to be a combination of equity from our ownership and borrowings. We're going to work through that as we go, but we have the capacity to do that, and have worked with the city and the county to make sure that we all together can pay for this project.
Hi, Brittany Muller with News Channel 8, WFLA. Mayor Welch, this is for you. What's next? If it's agreements, what does that timeline look like, and when can we expect a vote from the city and county commissioners?
So I'll give you the high-level GM type response. Hope to have everything wrapped up next April, May, and I'll ask Rob Gertis, our administrator, to walk you through what needs to happen on the city side.
Thanks, Mayor. So obviously very exciting today. We're all celebrating. And then, tomorrow we're going to get back to work on bringing this forward to our city council members. We expect to meet with City Council in October to go through the term sheets with them, both for the stadium and the surrounding development. Then there'll be numerous agreements that'll have to be developed, and as the mayor said, we hope to be back in front of City Council early next year for all the final votes. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Burton for the county side.
Ours is a little more straightforward, but the initial term sheet, which is what has been discussed here today, we're looking at the same thing, bringing that to the city or to the county commission in October. All the other documents, use agreements, things like that, will be the result of the ongoing piece, and that's going to take more time, likely the first of next year.
And one more question. Faith leaders right now are meeting for a press conference opposing the development. What is your response? They're mainly saying that they are not happy to see the city and the county partnering to spend $600 million. What would your response be?
I'd say I'm happy to have a conversation, but I'd also note that is not by any means all faith leaders. There are faith leaders here who support this. And the decision has been made, and I've met with, I believe, the group you're talking about what they would recommend we do. One suggestion was just keep the land. Well, we've kept the land for 40 years. But let's talk about community impact. If you want the 1,200 units of affordable housing, if you want a 30% goal for minority contracting with that $6 billion of investment, if you want those things that we have now an agreement to bring forward, what is the alternative plan to get there? To date, I've heard no alternative plan that would get us there. So what I said at the NAACP gala Saturday night is, no matter which group you supported, whether it was one of these four groups or even in the prior RFP, we are now at a point where we've got an agreement and we've got goals. Help us to implement those goals, to get the minority community ready to participate in those business opportunities. Help us to get to those things that we agree on. And I don't want to amplify a very small group of people who oppose it on a really rhetoric-based level. Again, the $600 million, let's understand the $300 million from the county by state law cannot be used for social services or police or fire. It has to be used for economic development or tourism-related investments. It's been used for this building. Over $100 million of bed tax has been used for this building. So that's not new. And the $300 million from the city side is from non-property tax sources. And again, that's an investment to get back all of those deliverables. So I'm happy to have a conversation, but a lot of their arguments just are not based on fact.
And if you don't mind, Mayor, if I could just add to that again, I mean, we are very focused on our return on investment. Right now, this 86 acres produces $0 in property taxes, okay? Through this 20 to 30 year development, we anticipate that it'll be $200 million to Pinellas County schools. This is gonna help local school children. $55 million to PSTA. This is going to help bus riders in our city. And hundreds of millions of dollars to the city and the county in new ad valorem taxes. So this isn't giving money away with no return. We are focused on the return.
Thank you all for your time today. If you have follow-up requests, I would direct you to the media alert, which has the contacts for each person. And if you would allow our guests to get down and mingle with the rest of the guests that we have, we'd appreciate it. Thank you so much.